Hello, mysterious person behind the screen, and welcome back to the third and final in our series of audio commentaries to the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials. I'm once again joined by Isaac.
Well, that's all right then.
And if you couldn't tell, we are doing a commentary to the Giggle. So, yes, without further ado.
If you'd like to sync this up with the Blu-ray copy of The Giggle, put the episode to the start and press play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Certainly the most divisive of the specials.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a funny reaction to it, because when it first aired, I thought, yeah, that was probably the best of the three. But I think as time has gone on, it may have become my least favourite.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, I think
It's
it's one.
definitely the most problematic of the three.
Yeah, I
And
would agree.
I'll say this, for me, it feels like it's something Mr. TARDIS brought up in his review, but it feels like the first Russell T Davies script that I've ever watched, but doesn't feel committed. Like, whenever I watch an RTD script, because um, as a writer for Doctor Who, he's very versatile. He can write anything, and
Hmm.
he'll 100% commit to it. Even if it's a story I don't like New Earth or The End of Time, or find middling, like The End of the World, I can see the commitment there. He's committed to the story he wants to tell,
Yeah.
even if I don't like it. Whereas this, it feels like he's trying to commit to tell three stories at once,
Yeah.
and it really, looking back, it really should have been a two-parter.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those. I remember when I watched it, I remember thinking, I do sort of wish these three specials were connected,
Mm.
because they're all three of them are basically standalone. Obviously, they're linked by the character arcs and everything. But it's
Yeah.
yeah. I remember watching it thinking, yeah, I do kind of wish that all three were kind of the one big
Mhm.
story, or at least parts two and three anyway. Um, it's one of those. It's very big, and it's like a lot of like event episodes. It reminds me of a lot of the End of Time in a lot of ways, actually, in that it's very big. There's a lot going
Mhm.
on, and I can sort of just get swept up in the ride of it and have fun with it. If I really think about it, mostly the last sort of 20 minutes, really. But if I really think about the last 20 minutes, it kind of doesn't really work.
Mhm.
But I could stick this on whenever and have a lot of fun with it. That's for sure,
Yeah.
because it is a wild ride, and it's
I mean,
carried
I'd
by
say,
Neil Patrick Harris being
yeah, I'd
like
say by
insane.
default, it's probably the best toy maker story we've got on TV.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the alternative is four episodes of well,
Mhm.
move over
Well,
there, Stephen.
the animation is coming out soon, and in fact, the BFI screening for the animation is on the 2nd of March, I believe.
Yeah, it's not far away. Yeah,
It's that quick. I'm amazed at that.
it isn't far away at all, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that, because the trailer looked interesting to say the least.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
animation didn't look great, and to be honest, it's a BFI screening I can't see selling out at the members only
no,
period.
yeah,
But
it's an odd story, that one. But if any story was crying out for an animation, it is that one, because it is so visual. Um,
mhm.
so we'll have to see how it goes with that. But yeah, um,
I hope to God they cut out um what the King of Hearts saying the N word.
yeah, me too. However, the annoying thing about that is there's just going to be discourse and discourse about they
Yeah,
shouldn't censor things, that you shouldn't be cutting things out, and even though it's like the N word in a production, they're going to be want to be selling to people in 2024. It definitely should be cut out, but it's just going to cause discourse, and yeah.
mm.
I love all
There
this
was a
stuff with Stooky Bill, by the way. This
that's
is all
cool.
really
That's great.
good.
I love the look of the puppet and using the first TV transmission to get across the toy maker's plan.
Yeah, I
And
love it.
yeah, because I love the opening bit with the world going completely insane. It's like
Mm.
it's people followed up on the threat that they make on Twitter
Yeah,
and
yeah,
did it
it's
in
really
real
cool.
life. Like, I remember when Jodie Whittaker was cast, they said, we need to bomb the BBC
I
and put
know.
Stephen off that. I
I
wonder
know.
if someone in this episode has actually done that. Bombed the BBC.
It's one of those things that like I kind of wish. I wish the. I wish Stooky Bill had his own episode, and I wish
Yeah.
this stuff with everyone going mad had its own episode, and I wish the Toy Maker had his own episode. I think all three of them together, it gets a bit messy.
It's fit to burst, yeah.
Yeah, but like I say, it doesn't. If I'm just watching it for a laugh, it doesn't bother me too much because I can just go with the insanity of it. Because it is a mad episode. There's so much goes on and so much happens, and I can just roll with it. But it's a shame that Stooky Bill won't get its own episode because that's kind of ripe for a Doctor Who story, and it's kind of a shame that it's not. We've kind of had that now on this, and that probably won't ever happen again. But
It certainly is, yeah.
like I say, it's cool. I love all this stuff with the Toy Maker. Like I say, my biggest problem with the story come later on, really, because I just think there's a lack of explanation for things that happen. But we'll get there with the old bi-generation and stuff like that. What would you say was more controversial, this or Timeless Children? Because both were pretty controversial.
Hard to say, really.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure because bi-generation seems to have gone down a bit better with fans, like saying, because I know obviously with Tales of the TARDIS, people have been like, oh cool, what if it's like an alternate timeline where there are
Yeah.
some doctors that didn't regenerate and they just aged out. In fact, because of bi-generation, this is my theory now, the fugitive doctor is a bi-generation doctor.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, there you go.
It could be. You
It
never
could
know.
be. Anything can happen
I
now
don't know
with
if
all
Russell
this.
ever addressed that, but that could be my headcanon now because,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a bi-generation result from regenerating from the second into the third Doctor. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, it's one of those things now. Now with Doctor Who canon, there's fucking millions of the buggers, wandering about. Anybody could be Doctor Who now, so it doesn't really, it is what it is. I'd probably say Timeless Children was more controversial generally because
Yeah.
it's that sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was a lot more visceral reactions to that when it came out, whereas this there was the visceral reactions to it. I think everyone kind of expected that, but it didn't seem
pretty special. I didn't go on Twitter that much. I was just like,
Yeah,
just saw the general reaction. But I remember the discourse going on about Davros. I was just like, no.
oh yeah, that was a whole fucking thing.
I mean, I'll say this about the Davros thing. My favorite criticism, and I use that in inverted commas, was, what next? Are they going to have Darth Vader appear without prosthetic limbs? Yes, we have something called that.
Yeah,
They're called the Star Wars prequels. I don't know if you're aware, but there's been 3 movies
Three of them.
where you've seen Darth Vader before he was horrifically burnt and put into a metal suit.
Yeah.
Speaking of Darth Vader, I remember when Rogue One came out, and because of that one scene at the end where he massacres all those rebels, I could see people saying, oh, that scene is so cool. I wish we could have a Darth Vader movie.
Yeah, I still see that now.
Oh,
When
great.
Yeah.
There's been 6 films about him.
it happened again when Obi-Wan Kenobi came out, people were like, "Oh, can we have a Darth Vader movie or series?" And it's like, what the fuck? Don't know what you've been watching.
Why should I care about you? No change there then. And it's an obese, red-cheeked guy with blonde hair.
Yeah, interesting that. When were these written again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well, they were filmed in 2022, the year of the 3 prime ministers.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so they must have been written before that. Christ, the year of the 3 prime ministers. Fuck me. That was a thing. Christ, forgot about that.
Yeah,
So
and also, I don't know if we've missed it, but they've made Russell T Davies made Trinity Wells an anti-vaxxer.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I cheered when Trinity Wells appeared.
Yeah, it was
Because
great to see her again.
I kind of
I
knew
like
she
how
would,
Russell
but
did
yeah,
just use her. Well, I like how Russell didn't just use her in the typical way
yeah,
that she did in his first era. For why not make her a bit of a villain?
yeah. It wouldn't be a world-ending event without Trinity Wells popping up.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Gemma Redgrave is great here, by the way. She's really
Hmm.
good. Given that, like, the character of Kate Stewart, there's an issue with her in that often writers don't know what to do with her, and
Hmm.
this is like maybe my favorite Kate Stewart story because she just gets stuck in a bit more, and I think this is I love this bit where she goes bloody mad with the. It's just something different for Gemma Redgrave to do, um, and she's great, and this kind of proves that she's great when you give her kind of real meaty stuff to chew on. I love the bizarre shit about like you can stand up, you're not in a wheelchair for real and all that, and it's just like Christ.
Hmm.
It's mental. And it's funny because I know you said you weren't on Twitter much for these when they aired. There was a whole controversy where some twats were like there was a conspiracy that Ruth Madeley wasn't actually disabled because you can see
Oh,
Shirley
no.
stand up briefly. Like there's a bit where I think yeah, it's in Star Beast where she stands up very briefly.
Yeah, every wheelchair user is different. Some
Yeah,
people may need the chair to get around, but it doesn't mean that
yeah.
not every person in a wheelchair can't stand up.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny that like that was a thing that certain groups on the internet tried to level against the production, and then you had this making like Kate Stewart say the exact same thing, and it's just like it was just one of those happy accidents kind of thing. But it just felt like it was calling those groups out, which was great.
Hmm.
Yeah, that
Also, yeah, here it is.
there she is. I love that she's got her own show now as well. She's graduated from being a reporter for certain
Oh,
channels,
yeah.
and she's now the
To be
Trinity
fair,
Wells
quite a
show.
few reporters that have been around since the noughties seem to have done that now. They've all got their
Yeah,
own show.
yeah, exactly.
In fact, speaking of anti-vaxxers, I watched the Unusual Suspects latest video about foreign superhero movies, and in his intro he says, if it's in the people they get to play these heroes, and
Yeah,
it's like what all these people have done.
yeah.
Like,
I
oh,
watched that earlier. It's mad.
also Mel's here. Why?
Yeah, Mel's here.
Don't get me wrong, it's nice to see her, but she doesn't do anything. What does she
No,
do? Pretend the box?
it feels like she's just there because it's the anniversary, and
Honestly,
it's like yeah, it's just an anniversary, and obviously we know that
I
she's in Shooty's run as well, so it just feels like a bit set
exactly.
up for
I'd have
that.
just saved her for Shooty's first series.
I agree. Yeah, I do agree. However, it
Mhm.
is nice that we get like unit because we know they're going to play quite a big role in Shooty's run. It seems like, so it is kind
Yeah,
of nice that we
probably.
get like a setup for their current status quo here with like a recurring cast of characters that may or may not go into
Mhm.
their own spin-off series. Who knows? So yeah,
Also, Russell did what no one in the 80s did. They got Bonnie Langford to sing on Doctor Who.
I
So
know.
it's just her going, la 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 la
Yeah.
la.
Again, when I saw that, I was just like, oh, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Get your money's worth out of Bonnie.
Also, he planned to bring back Stephen, didn't he?
As a disguised cow. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
The commentary for this one, well, the commentaries for all of these are great. If anyone has
Yeah.
are they on the Blu-ray? I know there's definitely an iPlayer.
They are, yeah.
They are on the.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. If anyone hasn't listened to them, go and listen to them because they're really good. But yeah, all this stuff is good fun. That Vlinks character is apparently going to make an appearance in Shooty's run.
Mhm.
So yeah, it does feel like a lot of setup for what's going to come next.
Yeah. And also, apparently, someone calculated until he bi-generated, the 14th Doctor lived for about 15 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, shortest running Doctor. Big Finish won't be able to do much with that, but they'll find a
Yeah,
way. I'm
true.
sure they always do. Um, but yeah, this is directed really well though. I mean, all of these specials have been, but this may be the best directed of them.
Well, they've
Um,
kept the aspect ratio from the Chibnall era, haven't they? It's the
yeah,
same.
probably because they spent all the money on those cameras and lenses, and they want to get the money's worth.
Yeah, let's just keep them.
Because they made a big deal about that. I remember in 2018 when Chibnall took over, they were like, "Yeah, we've got all these fancy new lenses and these new cameras, and yeah, they're they probably just want to keep using them to get their money's worth." And I don't mind it at all. It looks great.
Also, Mel and then potentially Donna working for Unit. It's practically the retirement home for
Yeah,
companions now. Then again, at the end of Power of the Doctor, Kate Stewart does say, I think I might be after some of you for work.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's good. It wouldn't surprise me if they do that spin off that's been rumored for ages, and yeah.
Mhm.
It's very Stark Tower as well, isn't it? Which Russell has
Mhm.
said, he's a bit of a Marvel fanboy, so it makes a lot of
Most
sense.
certainly, yeah. I mean, if you wanted to have Stephen in this, what you should have done is been like, have the Doctor get out a phone and say, I'm going to need help. We then
Yeah,
cut to Stephen on whatever planet the Savages is set on, picking up a phone saying, I'm on my way.
yeah.
Have the Doctor saying, Stephen, I'm going to need you to play hopscotch again.
I'm I'm gonna need you to play the piano and sing again.
Yeah.
I do like this unit HQ though, quite a bit.
Mhm.
I do like it, and it
Yeah, I like
looks
how it's
very
moved from
cool.
the Tower of London to this.
Its own building, yeah.
Hmm.
Not bad considering a few years before this it was like got shut down by Brexit.
Oh, yeah. Then again, I think Chibnall tried to answer that thing he stopped in resolution with the Grand Surfer because he infiltrated Unit, didn't he?
Yeah,
And winded it down with austerity, probably.
it was one of those things, that whole thing about Unit getting shut down, that was like, that's a really funny joke, but I don't think anyone actually thought about the implications of it.
Mhm.
Because it is a great joke. Like,
Well,
I love that joke, but
I just see it as in resolution. Oh, we can't call up Unit. Looks like we're on our own.
yeah,
That's literally how
yeah.
I see it. It exists.
I like that they set aside time for this little chat though. Because I remember on
Yeah,
first
about.
watch, I was like, oh shit, are they just not going to talk? Is it just like, oh shit, hello Mel?
Mhm.
But I am glad that they do kind of address things and take time to just let each other know what's been happening.
Then she mentioned Sambalon Glitz.
Yes, yeah, and we get an answer to what happened to him at last.
Died falling over a whiskey bottle.
Yep, it's how I want to go. To be fair,
Yeah. It's funny about Glitz. We all see him as an ally of the Doctor, but don't forget, in Mysterious Planet and The
yeah,
Ultimate Foe, the two stories, he was acting on the Master's behalf.
yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
It's funny as well because I remember when Mal popped up in Power of the Doctor at the end, everyone was just like, "That doesn't make a lot of sense. What's happened there? Like, how is she
Yeah,
back on
true.
Earth?" And then obviously
Hmm.
little did we know that she was going to be in this, you know, quite a bit because
Paul also wrote for Goodbye Sarah Jane,
mm,
her funeral. Nissa and Tegan were there, despite the fact Nissa was left on a space station in the far future.
Nissa and Tegan there, and apparently are a couple now, which
Yeah.
is then contradicted by Power of the Doctor and then hinted at in the trailer for season 20. So it's
It
just a bit
is,
like,
yeah.
what's bloody canon anymore? Who knows? I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind either way, just because
I mean, speaking of
yeah,
those collection trailers, Pete McTighe said at the BFI for Horror Fang Rock, the one we did for season 15, is quite a big one, and I think it might be a while until we do a mini-sode on that scale again.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I kind of expected that because it is a massive
Yeah.
thing. Like I was shocked when I watched that bloody trailer because it's just like,
Yeah.
holy shit, this is an advert for a box set. Why does this
Yeah,
have such a high budget?
Louise Jameson at the event said just how she was moved by the fact that so many people were. So she said, "I think it made up for my exit, which was utter crap."
Oh yeah, I hate Leela's exit. I really hate it. Like it's yeah. So I'm glad that.
Yeah, because she wanted to die saving the Doctor's life, but Graham
Yeah,
Williams was like, I think was kind of hinting at, "Oh, I can change your mind. I can get you to stay for another year."
yeah. That's what it was, wasn't it? So this is a weird element to this. What do you think about the fact that they made the toy maker a raging racist?
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I mean, is there a
It's funny.
response to the racist criticism that the character has received?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So what they've essentially done
Yeah.
is made it a part of him that he's a bit dodgy. Because early at the start, he makes a comment about
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
I thought you'd be used to warmer climate.
that's it. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And now
I've heard
obviously the
that corner
German
of the
thing.
internet. I've heard that corner of the internet say, "Oh, we can't have Devils in a wheelchair, but we'll have the evil guy be in a German accent." That's the point, you
Yeah,
fucking moron.
exactly.
And also, I don't know if Neil Patrick Harris has seen the surviving episode, but I think he nailed the smirk that Michael Goff
I agree.
originated.
Well, you say that. Apparently, Neil Patrick Harris had never heard of Doctor Who before he got the call to do this, which I find a
Oh,
little bit hard
okay.
to believe. But it's funny because we'll get to it later when he's doing the puppet show, and it's like he probably has no idea what any of this means. Like, but he's
I,
giving it a
Also,
go.
we did see a bit of the surviving episode of Celestial
Yeah,
Toymaker in colour. So, does that
colorized. Yeah.
mean does that mean episode 4 on the home media release is going to get colorized?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? They have done that before, haven't they? Because they've color the name of the Doctor has him, colorized and
Hmm.
stuff. So, um, yeah, who knows? They had a clip at the end of Daleks in color, though, didn't they? They had a clip of him in color. So,
That's true. Yeah, it was like it was like a trailer of like, here's what's to come next for the
yeah,
next 60 years of Doctor Who.
yeah.
It's funny about the Daleks in colour because I heard rumor early last year that it was going to be an unearthly child, and
Yeah, same.
don't think that was going to happen because the son of the writer
Mm.
is a person. We'll say that. That's
Yeah,
been known.
yeah. It's one of those things that it probably was their plan, but after all that kicked off, it probably went to shit. Which, I mean, that is a whole thing. It is a damn shame that the beginning of the show is like unavailable to watch now because of one very selfish, very mixed up person as well.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
hope
think
this doesn't
he's
lead
well.
to. Obviously, you can buy the episode on DVD, but I really hope it doesn't lead to, I don't know, potentially never getting season 1 in the collection range.
Yeah, I would like to think that. Oh, I don't know. Who knows? It's one of those
Yeah.
things. It's yeah. It just I don't think he's fully well mentally either, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, the guy makes Not My Doctors and Bolstret look like a saint.
yeah.
We'll just say that.
It's a shame. I hope something can be worked out and something that benefits all parties because obviously we don't want anyone to feel unpleasant, and it would be great if. Yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated matter, isn't it? Remember when the day it all kicked off, the box set of the beginning went up in price so much because everyone panicked, and then everyone was just like, wait, why the fuck are we doing this? And it's back to its normal price now. But for a while, it was just like, oh, it's going to go out of print. People are selling it for hundreds of pounds, and it's like, you know.
Exactly.
I love that, by the way. This whole scene of the Doctor and Donna, just that's the best stuff of this for me. Aside from all the mad, mental, fun stuff, is the character stuff between the Doctor
Because with the bi-generation, I like the idea of giving an incarnation a chance to retire.
Yeah.
What I don't like is giving him his own TARDIS, because then, well, what's the point? It's just business as usual.
I completely agree. It just takes the...
There's literally two Doctors running around out there.
It just takes the whole point away from what they were trying to say, I feel like. And
it's almost as if that scene in Journey's End where it was like, grow your own TARDIS, this universe needs protecting.
Yeah,
it'd be like if that scene was still in Journey's End.
Well,
that was cut for a reason, I think.
Exactly, and I don't. Do you remember when this was all leaked ahead of time? Because
no, I don't remember.
So in about May last year, there was this massive leak, and it leaked the whole of the church on Ruby Road, and it leaked all of the specials. Some of the details of the specials were wrong. Like the Star Beast and Wild Blue Yonder were pretty much wrong, but the Giggle was pretty much bang on. And it's that classic example of like when you read something, it sounds infinitely worse than actually seeing it happen. Because I remember reading it, and I remember everyone talking about it on Twitter, and they were like, "This would maybe kill the show. It'd be that bad." And reading it is that bad. Actually seeing it in action, it ain't that bad. It's one of the I have got problems with it, but it's not that bad. And but yeah, reading that leak, I remember just being like, "Fucking hell," because it sounds awful on paper. It sounds really, really bad. But yeah, so as a result of that, I think a lot of people, and myself included, kind of knew this was coming, and so I'd had time to get used to the concept anyway. And I don't mind the concept. Like you say, I don't like the fact they've given him a TARDIS, but it is what it is. The problem I have with it is I don't think it was explained well enough. I don't think it was explained properly in this episode. And I don't think it has been explained still. Because there's just a lot of uncertainty of like, okay, so is 15 born there? Does 14 eventually regenerate into 15 and they meld back together? You know, what does this mean? There's just a lot that I'm just like, it doesn't make sense.
Like, I feel sorry for Shooty because there's that Graham Norton. There's him on the Graham Norton show where they're discussing that scene, and Crane's just like, "So, what Doctor are you now?"
Yeah, this is it.
So, you were born in David Tennant. Well, I was, but also I was bi-generated, so I split off from David Tennant. So, are you still the 15th Doctor? Yes, I'm still the 15th.
Yeah, it's just...
I just feel like this. He thinks it's like, oh, it's down to me to try and explain all this.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's complicated a bit more by Russell saying in the commentary that he thinks every Doctor bi-generated and every Doctor woke up where they regenerated off, and I'm a bit like, I don't know.
It might explain the curator.
It probably does explain the curator, yeah. It's just one of those things...
The Doctor was just like, it's the end, but the moment is being prepared for.
Yeah.
Past out there. Goodbye.
Yeah, it's one of the... I don't know.
You go with the cricket fellow.
Yeah.
I don't like any of these companions.
I love all this stuff with the Stooky
the
Sue
dolls
and poor
are
Stooky Babbies. Yeah, this was all great, and it's brilliant as well. Like, it's a beautiful blend of practical and CG. The execution's amazing. It's really creepy. The horror is great, and I love the babies just sort of scurrying back into the shadows. It's like just that right a level of sinister. That's all great. I love all this Funhouse stuff. It's brilliant. And yeah, this puppet show is a nice treat for fans. But I'm always like I say, it's funny like Neil Patrick Harris going, "She was killed by a bird," and then his face is just like, because he's got no context for any of this. He probably he probably does not know what any of this means. So it's hilarious seeing him trying to
Well, I'm
yeah
Well, he should have also mentioned Rory Williams. You say, and
yeah
then there was Rory Williams, the man who died over and over again.
yeah.
He came back every time. Well, that's all right then. I know some people have said, isn't it a bit mean that he doesn't mention any of 13's companions? Well, the thing is, none of them had anything
Yeah.
horrific bad happen to them.
No.
Yeah.
And then he was falling in love with Yaz, yeah? and then he broke up with Yaz for no particular reason.
I
Yeah.
had ice cream with her. Well, that's
Well,
all right then.
yeah. And then he was trying to teach Ryan to ride a bike, yeah? It's nice though. I like all that. It's fun that they call back to it, and again, it's adding to that thing that I like about these specials, which is that although it's David Tennant again, he very clearly has been all these other doctors, and he's had those experiences, and he has been affected by those experiences, and yeah, all that's really good, really really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The game of the 21st century. They type, they get angry, they cancel.
yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, he's.
I love there's this weird detail as well, isn't there? With the master, when he points to the gold tooth, he's got like a million teeth in his mouth.
Yeah, I need to. Should have asked Sasha Down. Are you aware of what Russell's done to the master? He's put you in a gold tooth.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure there's going to be some.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. Didn't expect that though. Like I did not expect like, oh shit, fair enough. They just explain where the master is and what's happening with him at the minute. It's like, yeah, did not expect it. But yeah, I do like that. Like the Celestial Toymaker
Yeah.
universe has been opened by the Doctor doing all that shit with the salt in Wild Blue Yonder. I spoke
like
about it
that,
last
yeah.
time. Yeah, it's cool, and it just opens up the possibility of like more fantastical stuff happening in Doctor Who, which is cool. You know, we saw it with the goblins, and you know, it's just fun to see what will happen next.
That's one thing I like about the Toymaker. Whatever game he's playing, he'll never cheat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He'll always stick to the rules.
Even in a game of fucking catch, as we see later on.
To be fair, I quite like them bringing back a game of catch. Because if you go back to the original serial, they probably didn't have the budget for anything too big, so they just made it very simple, like hopscotch, blind man's bluff, musical chairs, hunt the thimble.
Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I don't really mind that. I quite like, and it's a very Doctor Who-y
I can't
idea.
remember what episode. I can't remember what episode it's in, but that sequence where Stephen and Dodo are hunting the thimble in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and then obviously you can't see it, and then it goes into complete bedlam, and I'm just like, what the hell am I listening to?
Yeah, it's that whole story is
Don't those characters just start throwing like stuff at each other?
Yeah,
like bread rolls or something like that.
It goes off on some wild tangents. But the thing is, like Celestial Toymaker as a story is basically just season 3 in a nutshell. In that you can't watch most of it, and what you can watch is very messy, very fractured. A lot of it is very weird, and a lot of it is a result of a troubled production. It's basically just season 3 in a nutshell.
The year of the three producers.
Yeah. God, I can't wait for the collection set for that. I mean, it will be years before we get it because I don't know what they're
I'd
going to
like
do
to
there.
see
But
a
yeah,
documentary on John Wiles because he has been demonized a lot by cast members.
he's been demonized a lot by cast members, and also I feel like nobody really knows much about him. Like he's a
True.
very mysterious figure. There's only a couple of pictures of him actually. I've only ever seen a couple of images of him.
I think that's convention footage of him
Yeah, there is,
somewhere.
which I'm shocked he did, given
Hmm.
what happened.
Yeah, because of the final FU to everyone he overspent on the arc, which
Yeah,
led to Celestial Toymaker having no money.
yeah,
And a lot
he's
of
an old
fans
guy.
don't seem to put together that the Celestial Toymaker and the Ice Warriors were created by the same guy,
Yeah,
Brian
yeah.
Howell. That's really cool.
It's very cool. Structurally, it's interesting that we're sort of unit tower, then back to unit tower, and back again. Like it's a bit of like sort of back and forth, but I kind of like it in that it's like back to the base to regroup and everything.
And as much as I like the callbacks to the companions, I felt there should have been a scene where Donna confronts the Doctor about it, because all she says
Yeah,
is this true? Like, a little bit more, maybe?
yeah. It's funny as well
Also,
before the episode aired. Russell put that video out of him on the TARDIS set, which was wonderful and joyful, and just like it's why I have such an admiration for that man, of him just wandering around the TARDIS set going, "I warn you, there will be spoilers." But one of the things he says is like, "It's over an hour. It's more than an hour. It's an hour and 1 minute," as if that's like impressive. Yeah.
also, right, you get Neil Patrick Harris, but you don't have him sing. Come
Yeah, I
on.
was convinced we'd let him sing,
The
but we
guy's a
get
great singer.
oh yeah, but we
Oh,
get this dance number at least, which
oh yeah.
is I love it. It's I mean it's you kind of expect that from Doctor Who villains these days because this is like the third time it's happened. Also, the dark comedy of just slamming Kate Stewart into the wall
Yeah, and then Mel.
and then Mal. It's quite a massive thump as well. It's great though. I like it. So, which is your favourite? This Rasputin or I can't decide from Sound of
Probably
Drums?
Rasputin, because none of those have the Dalek and Cyberman looking at each other
Yeah.
like, huh?
I think this might be the most impressive in terms of the visuals of it because holy shit, like
Yeah,
it's
because
really
I think
striking.
RTD looked at Power of the Doctor and was like, you call that camp?
Yeah.
This is camp.
Oh, it's pure camp. This whole thing is like, but it's great, and I love the whole thing where that, like everyone is genuinely terrified as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the fact that the petals just stick around, they don't disappear when he does.
Hmm.
Yeah, there you go. So Shirley's sort of stood up there, and
Yeah.
even though the episode called out those people, there were still people after this aired going, "Why the fuck is she standing up? Well, I thought she was in a wheelchair," and it's just like you fucking stupid twats. Like
I know.
it's so dumb.
Twitter will take one thing and act like you said something else.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think I saw a tweet once. It was like Twitter is the only place that you can say, "Oh, I love autumn," and then have 1,000 people respond to you. So what the fuck? You just said you hated winter and summer. Like it's just
I
like, no, I
know.
didn't. I just said I love the autumn.
Hmm.
I still think it's really impressive that the show managed to get Neil Patrick Harris though.
Oh
Like an
yeah, I
actor
mean,
of that
Michael Gough
caliber.
at the time when he played the Toymaker, he was probably the biggest star they had at that
Oh yeah,
point.
no, 100%, 100%.
Yeah,
I also love how he does just fucking shoot the Doctor, just no messing.
yep.
Boom, you're dead. I want to play, and it's a brilliant. Like, I remember I get goosebumps every time where he's like, I played the first game with one Doctor, and another game with this Doctor, and now I want to play with the next Doctor. I
What?
just remember like on broadcast thinking, oh fucking hell, here we go. And it still gives me goosebumps. Like just that, it's just a great line. It's just really, it's a cool line.
Mm-hmm.
And I disagree with what Mr. TARDIS said about this episode kind of doing all it can to overshadow Shooty. I get where he's coming from, but in my opinion, and obviously he's about to come, he was basically all I could think about when it had ended. I think he steals the show for these last 20 minutes. He's so immediately just like, boom, I'm Doctor Who now.
Yeah, he's the one who convinces Dr. 14 it's all right to move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think he makes such a good impression.
Mm-hmm.
And in his pants as well.
I wonder if the fans gonna cosplay that version of the 15th Doctor.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's gonna lead to some weird conventions. Watching this again though, Jesus, all this looks amazing. This looks better than what a lot of like the Marvel TV shows are doing. Like the effect, like they look genuinely like they are on a skyscraper. You wouldn't know that they were in just an elevated stage in a car park in Cardiff. Like it's pretty brilliant.
Wait, Mel's an orphan? Is she?
Who knows? It is kind of funny that we've still never seen their first encounter.
oh yeah, true. We have
never seen it.
The closest we got was the Target novel at the end of The Ultimate Foe.
Yeah.
It's written that the Sixth Doctor, who just leaves his trial, obviously he's not met Mel yet, but he takes her to a time where he meets her future self.
Yeah.
It basically puts her back in her timeline. And then I like to think after that he met Evelyn Smythe.
Well, do you know what? It's funny. This bi-generation stuff, it's similar to the Mal thing, isn't it? Because it's quite poorly explained, and it's one of those things that you just sort of have to be like, well, I mean, fair enough then. It is what it is.
Would you rather be Mel or Dodo? Mel had no introduction, but Dodo had no exit.
Probably Mel, because at least Dodo didn't say, "Oh, I'm off now, Doc. Thanks for that." And then in like a million expanded universe stuff, die in the most painful, horrible ways imaginable. Yeah. Also, it's funny they're grabbing his hands. Wouldn't they be burning up?
Oh yeah.
Especially when the regeneration energy starts to flow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that though. Like, if this were to be his final lines, him saying, "Look, it's not dying, it's okay," and him and Alonzi being his last line, essentially, would be
cool.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. It's great development from the end of time, I think. You know, and him saying that, but of course, it's not his last line because here he comes. Ncuti Gatwa is about to enter the fray.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember. Although I knew it was coming because of the leak and everything, and although I had mixed feelings about the concept, that moment where he comes out of David Tennant is such it's a great image, and it is really here he is, there he is, like just seeing him, I was just like, yes, here he is, here's the Doctor, like, you know, and it's a great camera movement as well. It goes kind of above them and round. It's a really incredible bit of direction.
I can remember that crowd saying, "It's inappropriate for Ncuti Gatwa to be introduced with no trousers on. It's inappropriate for him to be modelling topless."
Yeah.
Shut up, please. Then again, when Jenna Cohen was cast, there was some her saying like, "This is really appropriate. She did a nude scene in a drama
Oh
once."
yeah. Well,
Wow.
same for Jodie Whittaker, because people were like posting the clips of her in the stuff that she'd like sex scenes that she'd done and stuff, and people were like, it's not appropriate for her to be the Doctor, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Do you not know how acting
Yeah,
works?
yeah.
I never want dickhead saying, she swore in a podcast intended for
Oh, I
adults. Imagine
know.
if a child say that. Matt Smith was on the Jonathan Ross show. I think it's promoting Series 7 Part 2, and he said shit, so
Yeah.
it's fucking what?
Yeah, and it's curious as well, right, that when
And then I think that
Shooty...
same person was like, "Oh, Matt Smith swore as well. Well, he's bad as well."
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
of course he
it's
is.
curious, isn't it, that when Shooty did the same thing, nobody batted an eyelid. Because remember,
Uh,
when he did the costume reveal, and
oh,
he was like, Millie fucking Gibson, and it was just like, okay, he's just swore, and
no.
I remember at the time thinking, okay, interesting that when the woman did that, there was like everyone was up in arms, but when the man does it, nobody cares, and I think
Yeah, and
that says a lot.
also about the Doctor's costumes. I want to dress like John Pertwee, who was a bit of a slut.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So you're my replacement, a slut and a clown.
Yeah. Well, I say nobody batted an eyelid. He did get a bollocking from Russell T Davies, apparently. He said in an interview,
Okay.
Russell called him to his office and said, "You can't be swearing in costume. You can do whatever you like out of costume, but don't be swearing in costume," which I find interesting.
That's fair. This is something I like with Shooty's Doctor. There's no post-regeneration trauma, so
Yeah,
there's no... Because as you've said, because he's hearing it, he's performing so confidently, there's no trauma of him being like, am I the Doctor? Who am I? What's going on? And things like that, yeah.
well, this is it, and I know a
It's
lot
just
of
straight into action.
and I know a lot of people criticize that because they're like, "Oh, he doesn't get the traditional Doctor entrance. He doesn't get this. He doesn't get that." But I'm a bit like, well, does he need to? Like, I think the thing is, Doctor Who fans get very attached to tradition, and
Yeah.
I just think sometimes you've just got to let
That's
it go.
what I've liked about Doctors 14 and 15. They've regenerated. It's just like, okay, big whoop.
Yeah,
on we
yeah,
go.
yeah. And it's the same thing that a lot of people are like, well, Shooty's, him in the club and everything. He's a bit too confident to be the Doctor and everything. And I am a little bit like, I kind of agree, but at the same time, the Doctor does change based on how the world changes, and if people would have balked at like the Doctor.
I remember one.
Yeah, I don't know.
One criticism of this era. Doctor Who is trying too hard to appeal to 12-year-olds.
What? Yeah, the family show.
That's so. The family show. That is so bad, isn't it?
But it's just funny because like people in the 70s and 80s probably would have balked at Christopher Eccleston being quite northern and calling people mate and things like that. But now it's just that's just how the Doctor talks, because times change and the Doctor needs to change with that as well, and that's just how the Doctor speaks. So fuck it. If
Jackie Lane was told to do an RP accent and not a Liverpool one because of just what the times were.
Exactly, and so it's why I'm a bit like, Doctor in a club, whatever, fine. If the
schools have changed as well. They're no longer requiring you saying. They're no longer saying to you, okay, we're going to knock your native accent out of you and you're going to speak with an RP accent for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I think they do teach how to do RP, but it's not mandatory to have on TV anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And people complain about the Doctor saying babes now, and I'm just like, well, people call each other babes in real life, so if the Doctor wants to call somebody a babe, let him say babes. Like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's times change and you've got to change with it, and it's fuck it, Plus, it's Ncuti Gatwa. Like, are you really gonna cast Ncuti Gatwa and not have him be like incredibly sexy on the and all that? And It's one of those things I'm just like,
Mhm.
fuck it, it's fine. And
Exactly.
I like this idea of the Doctor comforting themselves and like, this is proper self love. When he kisses him on the
Yeah, it
forehead and
is
stuff.
exactly.
It's great, and I love that. And that's the best thing about the Bi Generation, I think,
Yeah, I
is
kind of
that
hope
aspect.
that with Ruby Sunday, they do have this relationship
I
where,
Yeah.
she can go to him for help and guidance and anything she needs to talk to.
Mm. Well, he's one of the most emotional Doctors, isn't he, that we've seen so far.
Mhm.
From this, and also at the end of Ruby Road with him, um,
The
breaking
tip that you
down and
picked
stuff.
up.
Yes, yeah,
Have you seen Flash Gordon?
yeah. This is what I mean about it being a bit unexplained. It's like, so 14 has to say, oh, this is that. That's moved from there to there. You need to do this. And it's just a bit like, well, shouldn't 15 know, or is this an earlier part of 15's
Mhm.
timeline? Because that's another theory. It's like that 15 is actually from an earlier timeline, but he's just been brought forward. So it's just like, oh god, I don't know.
Mhm.
But I love this bit where it's like, look, you're running on fumes. I'm fine because
15.
you ended up fixing yourself. I'm fine because you ended up fine, and so you
Mhm.
need to take time off. You need to chill and just let me handle it, and I will be fine because you're fine. And I love all that, and I love this whole thing, key to time. Um,
Yeah.
Legopolis again. It's hilarious to think of Shooty Cat were saying stuff like Legopolis and Adric and
Yeah.
Marvik Chen and stuff like that. Um, Sarah Jane is gone. Can you believe that? That is
Yeah,
fucking
officially
heartbreaking.
making it into the main series that Sarah
Yes,
Jane has passed away.
yes. Which I'm
Yeah.
fine with because of that mini-sode and
Mhm.
everything. And yeah. Um, yeah, Marvik Chen gets a mention. Gods of
Yeah.
Ragnarok. It's great. It's and I don't. It was this bit that I was like, yeah, wait, yep, he's the Doctor. Like, because it's you just you feel the history. It doesn't feel like an actor reading off weird bits of Doctor Who lore. It just feels like, oh yeah, this is a guy with all those memories, and I like the idea that 15 is a Doctor that has let go of his trauma and is a
I
bit
know.
more carefree and is yeah.
Yeah, but we can't have a straight white man be weak because it's showing that all straight white men are weak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I hope when we get to the end of this RTD2 era, the anti-woke crowd are going to disappear once and for all. I mean, it's probably a pipe dream, but I think they
yeah.
know they're on borrowed time and they're just clutching at the tiniest straws
I
possible
completely
in order
agree.
to stay relevant. I mean,
I completely agree.
like there's people on Twitter who don't even have YouTube channels. Like, if you have a YouTube channel, I can get it because you're probably doing this for money um and to just lie to people on the internet for a living. But
Yeah.
on Twitter, you're not getting paid for it, so why are you doing it?
Yes, exactly.
So hilarious to me.
Yeah, this is a testament to the strength of David Tennant's acting as well. Because when his voice cracks and his lip trembles and stuff, it really gets you, and it always does. But the look on his face, and he's just like, "What?
Mhm.
So I give up all of this," and he's so good. Just the way he cracks his voice, and yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
he's brilliant. He is. He's such a good actor.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, he's so good. The change in the face thing for therapy, yeah, fine. Again, it's one of those things. It feels a bit of a nebulous concept, and I wish it was a bit more. I don't know. There's just a lot of this stuff that I'm just like, can we just get a bit of an explanation for these things? And so, like, it's been confirmed now in interviews that this TARDIS that splits off is the same TARDIS, just in a different timeline. So it's not a duplicate. It's just in a different timeline, like a different sector of
Yeah.
time. But it is still a bit like, what? Like, that's never said in the episode. That's in interviews and stuff. And yeah, like I said, it's just the lack of clarity on things. That's the problem I have with it. If everything was a bit more clarified and stuff like that, I wouldn't have as much of an issue with it. And I
Mhm.
don't really now that we're like a few months on from it. I don't really, because it's just it happened. It was a few months ago, and we're just moving on, and that's fine. And that's where I am with
Mhm.
Doctor Who anyway. Like I'm not going to get hung up on stuff anymore because it happens, and that is what it is. But yeah,
Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be episodes I like and dislike,
yeah,
but
gotcha.
there's no point getting really, really angry about it because there's other things in life.
There's other things in life, like after a few months, you won't be thinking about it, and normal people won't still be angry about
Yeah.
it and all this, and when I say normal people, I don't mean that to insult anybody. I just mean like people who aren't like, I don't know, who don't treat Doctor Who as like some religion that controls their life, and
Yeah, and yeah, speaking of Shooty, RTD has said we did have someone in mind before we auditioned Shooty,
yeah,
and yeah, and RTD has said we'll never reveal who that person was, either to
no,
the actor or to the public, because it's probably not fair.
yeah, no, it isn't, and yeah, and nor should it be really. I saw a lot of people going, "Oh, I really want to find out who that is," and it's just like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, I'd like to, but obviously it's not fair for the actor who nearly got the role of the Doctor.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, do you know what though? This again, I wouldn't mind the duplicate TARDIS as much. I wish that Shooty went into the original. I kind of don't like that he goes into the duplicate.
Yeah, well, he's
And
got a jukebox.
he's got a jukebox, which is great. um, but yeah, that's again an optics thing, and that's partially where I agree with people saying it seems a bit unfair on him. Because it's just like, oh, so he's getting the copy, is he? And it's like, yeah, I just wish that he would have gone in the original, and he would, and sorry, 14 would have got the copy, but it is what it is. It's fine. I love all that though. I love the I love you. Get out. It's really good fun, and it's stuff like that where it's just like, yeah, he's so cool, isn't he? He's pretty fun, and I'm looking forward to it's when we get at the end. I was just like, yes, I'm really looking forward to seeing him just do his thing now and just cruise about the universe.
Yeah, I'd have just preferred it though if there was no TARDIS for the 14th Doctor. Because
Yeah,
the TARDIS, yeah, it is canonically his wife, but if this Doctor is supposed to stop running and stop traveling and
yeah,
things like that, why can't he just not have a TARDIS and retire?
I
I mean, it's
agree.
an idea Douglas Adams had before he wrote Shada, the idea that the Doctor retired.
Yeah, I agree, and yeah, it's whatever. And the thing is, when Unleashed aired after this, and Russell was very much like, look, Shooty's the Doctor, Shooty's the next Doctor, 14 is parked, and the implication being that eventually, yes, 14 will die and he'll regenerate into Shooty Gatwa. But I think this worked for a lot of general audiences. A lot of people saying, oh, that it's confusing and stuff like that, and it kind of is. But also, a lot of people who do love David Tennant's Doctor really liked this, I think.
Yes.
Because I remember, again, my friend at work was saying, yeah, I really got emotional at him saying he was happier than he ever has been, and it was a really nice ending for him. And I think people did like it. Like, yeah. And again, I don't. Will it get brought up again? Who knows? Who bloody knows if it'll get brought up again? If not, fine.
We know we're at least up to season 15 because
Yeah,
it's already filming.
yeah.
That's a good sign that there's no bloody gap years.
I'm so happy about that. That's what thing. Whatever happens to the quality of the show, or whatever. I'm just glad we're getting regular Doctor Who. God, I've missed it. I've missed it. Yeah, not sure about Wolf shooting the moles. bit of an odd thing to do, but fair enough. It is a beautiful moment though when he says, "Look, I'm happier than I ever have been," because the Doctor has been
Yeah.
through a lot. I know everyone likes to think of the Doctor as a, this dashing hero, this omnipotent presence, and he's the Doctor. But
But what if he just stopped?
whoever
Oof.
you are, the amount of shit that he's gone through, it would break any man.
Mhm.
Any person, it would break, and yeah. And it is lovely. Like, again, it's David Tennant's acting. It just sells anything that he's in. I'll forever, love David Tennant as the Doctor, and David Tennant as an actor anyway. I think he's really one of the UK's treasures, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And we were lucky that he played the Doctor at all ever. Much less that he did it twice.
I think Sylvester McCoy's extremely happy that we had a Scots actor regenerate into another Scots actor.
Another Scot. Way.
What did he say? What did he say to Paul McGann? Scots for Scousers too.
Yeah. Not sure about the Destination Christmas thing at the end, but whatever. It's cool. It's fine. It's fine. But that was the Giggle. Interesting episode. Lots to talk about, obviously. But watching it again for this, I'm fine with a lot of it. It is what it is, and it's a bit of fun.
Yeah. It is probably my least favourite of the specials now, but I don't necessarily call it bad, just very fit to burst.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Oh, nice to see Sophie Kadri in the credits.
Yep.
Yeah. I like it, and I like these specials. I like these. They are what they are. They're good fun, and I'm just excited.
Brian Hale's got a credit there.
He did.
Toymaker created by Brian Hale.
He did, yeah. And they spelt his name right, unlike what happened with Legend of the Sea Devils. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just excited for Shooty's run. I just can't wait to see what he does, and just to see him be the Doctor in a regular set of episodes, I think. And yeah, should be great. Well, everyone, that's the end of the commentary, and this is our last commentary again for a little while, but I'm sure we'll be back at some point in the future. In the meantime, you know where to find us on social media, and you can check out our back catalogue of commentaries here on my channel, and go subscribe to Isaac's channel too. Alright, everyone, bye-bye.
Bye.